Hi there, Angela Proust here, author at Parents with Confidence. I am a child therapist and the creator of the Confident Connected Method, which is an online program for parents raising awesome spirited kids. I want to talk to you guys today about anxiety. October is a mental health awareness month, and anxiety is, if there was one mental health condition that I would want parents to have a heads up about, to have a basic awareness of and baseline knowledge of, I would say, hands down, it would be anxiety. Why? Because anxiety is extremely and shockingly prevalent in today's world. And there's a couple reasons for this. First off, our brains just weren't made to live in the society that we live in today. We live in a world today where we are encouraged to be fast-paced, right? Where we are encouraged to go all the time, to do all the things. And our brains simply are not made to do that. Eventually, the stress and the overwhelm of the modern society catch up to us. And our brain's job is to protect us from danger. And so what happens is, with overwhelm, with busyness, all of this piles up, and our brain starts to tell us, and your child's brain will start to tell them, danger, danger, alert, alert, something is wrong. And this happens in the emotional center of their brain, or their amygdala. So we're not going to get into too many technical details. What I do want to share with you guys today are 10 really common signs and symptoms that often parents tell me they had no idea were indicative of anxiety. And these are things that I think all parents should know, because even myself, being a child therapist, I saw signs in one of my daughters, and it took me months to figure out what was going on, because even I was unaware of some of the symptoms and the ways that it can present in kids. So have a leg up, know what to look for. Odds are, the statistics are crazy, you guys. It's, I think, around 80% the last time I checked. For females over the lifespan will experience anxiety. They're very high rates. There's, as we all know, there's also just so many things happening and environmental stressors in the last few years that also have heavily played into this. So be prepared, know what to look for, and then instead of being behind the 8 ball, you'll be ahead of it and you'll know when you see it. So the first surprising sign of anxiety in kids is anger or hostility. And this is one that shocks parents. Really, this is a main way that anxiety or worries presents in kids. This is really different than most adults, but really it makes sense, because how do I react when I'm really overwhelmed and stressed? My brain says, overwhelm, overwhelm. And honestly, it's very easy to lash out, right? We have a lower frustration tolerance, and that is a sign of fight or flight. That is the fight, right? So that is the first symptom. The second one would be excessive questioning. Now, of course, during certain developmental phases, all kids can ask questions excessively, and it's totally typical. However, you'll get a feel for if your child all of a sudden starts to increase the amount of questions. It'll just have a different energy to it and a different feel to it, and it will feel excessive and like they need the answer and they have to keep asking, and they have a hard time moving forward unless they have the answer. So excessive questioning, asking before they're going to go do something, asking something 10 times, 20 times over and over, and really a lot of times seeking excessive reassurance can often be a sign of anxiety. Third sign is seeking validation, which I just spoke to. So really that is, asking, do you think I'll be okay at soccer? Do you think somebody will play with me at school today? Do you think I'm a good kid, Dad? All of these things are examples of really feeling unsure. And so seeking that outside validation because they are feeling insecure on the inside. The fourth sign is physical symptoms. So this is where I found myself being surprised with our daughter. She had leg pains for months and we had no idea what was going on. I had never heard of that being a symptom of anxiety and other pains and extremities. I had heard of stomach aches, right? This is one that's pretty common. And that also is a very typical way that anxiety will present, but it can also be in other areas of the body. Our brains are amazing machines at trying to communicate and get it that something is not right and getting itself taken care of. So all of these things will manifest in our body through various symptoms. So stomach aches, headaches, and leg pain as well. And this happens like arm pain. This happens because of the physiological changes that take place in our bodies during anxiety. So this is our bodies is going into the limbic system. We're starting to go into what's known as fight, flight, or freeze. And all of these internal changes and shifts start to happen that can cause physical symptoms. So with the leg pain, what it is the digestive system is temporarily slowing down in an effort to conserve energy and send more blood to the brain, which aids in our survival instincts. So then we have less in our legs, and I believe this is what was going on for our daughter. The fifth sign is avoidance. This one is fairly common. You may have heard of this one. Think about it, if there's something as an adult that you've been avoiding consistently, there's probably some stress around it. So for kids, if they are really trying to, a lot of times this shows up as school avoidance, don't want to go to childcare or a certain practice. They may be having excessive worries or anxiety around a certain environment, or, experiencing just generalized anxiety. The next one is struggling to fall asleep. So anxious thoughts love to visit us when our minds are quiet, when all the busyness of the day has subsided, right? And they can kind of all of a sudden just float to the surface, so to speak. And this really makes it difficult to physically and mentally relax in order for our healthy sleep responses to occur. The next sign is trouble with focusing. So living in this heightened state of stress puts a child's brain on continual survival mode, and it means the emotion center of the brain is continually overactivated. And when this is happening, when our amygdala is in overdrive, the area that is not able to function as it should is the area responsible for focus. And that is our front brain, frontal lobe, prefrontal cortex, call it what you will. So not being able to focus is very, very common. The next one is heightened emotions. This seems pretty obvious, but when our amygdala is in overdrive with worries, it's just in overdrive in general. So there will be heightened states of sadness, possibly heightened states of anything, right? Of anger, like we mentioned before, that's the most common one. So just more emotional in general. All right, number 9 is running away or hiding. This is the fight, flight, or freeze, right? So running away and hiding, sometimes, before school, parents will say, my kid is running away all the time, and I can't find them to go to school. I know one of our daughters would run away in preschool, and she would go hide under a table in another room. So that was a sign that she was feeling stress and anxiety in her environment. And finally, the last surprising symptom that I'm going to talk about today is clinginess. And this is, I think, the typical response that a lot of us picture. We're sending our preschool off to school or whatever, and our child doesn't want to leave us. A lot of times this can translate to older kids as well, right? Kids say, I want you to come with me, mom or dad. I don't want to leave you guys. They're really hesitant to go, out with friends, or maybe they are having anxiety and you see they're not wanting to go to friends' houses, or eventually when they get older, if your family does sleepovers or whatever the case may be, you might notice that they're clingy to their primary caregivers. So again, some expression of these things is completely typical, and there can be anxiety, of course, in typical everyday life. That doesn't mean it's an anxiety disorder or that it's at a clinical level. The way that we know that it's at a clinical level, of course, you will want to make an appointment with a mental health professional and have them verify that. But if the child is experiencing these things to a degree that it is disruptive to several environments for them, if it's disrupting their relationships and family life at home, if it's disruptive to their school functioning, to their peer relationships, how they're able to engage in extracurriculars and all those types of things, then okay, there is something here that is, gone from minimal to more moderate or significant, and something that we need support in treating. The good news with anxiety is that it's very common, but very, very treatable. And the thing is when you have a leg up and you know these symptoms and you're prepared ahead of time, you know if your child is exhibiting them that it's anxiety and not something else. And oftentimes with anxiety, the scariest thing kids and parents would say is that they don't know what it is. And so they worry even more about what it could be. So knowing these things will be super helpful for you and will help to lower everyone's stress when this very normal thing might make an appearance in your family. So I hope this was helpful. Leave me any questions down below and I'll be happy to address them.